Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Spiritual Maverick. Such a pleasure to have you watching this today. And we are going to be talking about trust your gut, how to access all the wisdom you will ever need to design a fulfilled, a happy, loved up, abundant life. Now, I make the assumption that I'm speaking to spiritual people. I'm speaking to people who know that they have a call on their life, whatever that looks like, okay? Because yes, you know, sometimes for me, calling is about more than just the work that you're here to do. It's about the life that you're here to lead, okay? It's about your life, your whole life. What is that to look like? How is that to feel? Because there is a call on your life to actually live a very fulfilling, very awesome experience of life. However, for the most part, most people don't get the privilege of living that yet. And it's not even supposed to be a privilege, really. It is actually supposed to be the way life is, that you get to live fulfilled, you get to live free, you get to live abundant, okay? And guess what? It comes down to you. It comes down to what you choose for your life. It comes down to you taking courage and choosing to go against what sometimes feels like what the rest of the world wants to do. It sometimes feels like standing against what seems reasonable, and instead recognizing that actually reason so far has only got you so far. And if you want a different experience of life, you're going to have to do something somewhat different from what you've done to date, okay? So I'm going to start by singing our affirmation for the day. And in fact, for this three-part live stream thing that I'm doing here, which if you haven't already registered for it, if you want to know the details of when this is happening, you need to go over to rosemarynonny.com/spiritual maverick. Of course, it does depend on when you're listening to this, but you can still try because there'll be something there for you anyway. But in the meantime, whilst we're here, we're going to start with an affirmation, and that's going to be the affirmation for each of these individual parts, okay? So let's do this thing. Say hello. Feel free to say hello to me. Hello, Ijoma. How you doing? Lovely to have you here. Okay, let's sing. The affirmation for this three-part thing, and in fact for the Deliberate Success Immersion Incubator, DSI, is this song, okay? This is our song. I choose to live out my calling. I will not die with my music in me, okay? I choose to live out my calling. I will not die with my music in me. Let that be the theme of this three-part event, and let that be the theme of your life in some ways, that you refuse to do any less than everything you're capable of, okay? Because this is your one life. You don't know whether they're gonna come back as a butterfly or not. So why not make sure that whilst you're here, you make a difference for yourself first, and then for anybody else around you. But you know what? First and foremost for you, there's that hunger, that desire to live a bigger, more abundant life. I'm very well, thank you, Ijoma. Thank you for asking. So let's actually step into that. So anyway, here is the affirmation. I choose, no ho ho. Yes, this is what happens when you're doing things live. I choose to live out my calling. I choose to live out my calling. I choose to live out my calling. I will not die with my music in me. I will not die with my music in me. I choose to live out my calling. I choose to live out my calling. I choose to live out my calling. I will not die with my music in me. I will not die with my music in me. Okay, so that is our affirmation, and I'll probably sing it from time to time all through this. But ultimately, I just want you to keep that in mind. And as I said at the beginning, your calling is about more than what you do. It's about the life. It's about your whole life. It's about who you're here to be as well, okay? I know people say about the whole human being thing. I do think that we still got to do, but you know what, the being thing as well. Now, one of the things that I consider to be incredibly important in designing the life that we desire, and in fact, as a human being, I think that actually there is a, hey, Jenny, how you doing? Thanks for the love. Thanks for the love. Woohoo! I do want to hear from you guys. If you have questions or anything, do feel free to put them in there because I want to make this as interactive as possible, if possible. So, but this is it, guys. I do think that as a human being, there's a part of us that longs for something more, okay? Some people find it or try to find it in religion. Some people find it by working too hard. Some people just don't find it. And so they drown it out with distraction, with, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. And you're rocking it, girl. Thank you for making this world a better place. Thank you very much, Jenny. Thank you. Thanks for your kind words. But then yes, people either distract themselves or they get bigger or whatever. And it ends up with them still feeling that emptiness, but ultimately drowning it out with something that probably isn't working. But it's easier not to question because it almost feels like everybody around you is doing exactly the same thing. And you know what, for a long time, I was just like, you know what, we just need to find your purpose and you just need to do the work and blah, 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 which, yeah, you know what, you still kind of need to do the work, both the internal and the external work. But the thing I feel as if I haven't really made a big point about saying is this, that for me, every part, everything that I do comes from a connection with what I would call God or Papa. You may call it source, you may call it intuition, you may call, I don't know what, you could call it higher power or whatever. I know people sometimes get really uncomfortable with the word God and things like that, but I do believe that, yeah, the God that you heard about, it's not that one. It's not that one, okay? It's not that one. This is a power, this is spirit within that is completely for you. As a spiritual person, you know that, right? You know that there is something in the universe, there's something more than just what we see. There's a sixth sense even. There's just that extra something, because this is it. We all know of people, or maybe the person who's working your socks off, trying to make things come together, and it's not quite working. You did all the things that they said you needed to do. You've worked your socks off. You've tried to put yourself in the right, I don't know what, right relationship. You even got your pastor to bless it, and this and that and the other, and it's still not working out. It's still not working out. There's still a hole inside of you. There's still this feeling of there's something missing. Now, I do believe that we all have a purpose and a calling that we need to be living out, or else you just feel empty and you don't feel complete. But I also think that there is a space for that connection with something bigger than ourselves, something that loves you unconditionally. This is not something I'm always comfortable talking about when it comes to things like love, because it sounds so woo-woo and crazy. But the truth of the matter is that my life opened up when I really knew that I was loved. I can thank the shack. But before the shack even happened, if you haven't read the book, The Shack, you should. Higher authority, Joma says, yes, everyone is connecting to it differently, beautifully described, so true. Yes, I'm glad that you guys see what I'm saying, because I know sometimes I say all of this, well, you could call it God or intuition and this and that, spirit, source, universe, because to me, I know the God that I know, okay, doesn't necessarily care so much what you refer to him as. I know people try to put it all in a box and this is the way you have to come. I don't completely align with that. I remember reading something recently that I said to a friend that, you know what? Spirit, source, whatever, will go down any path to find you. Oh, and that to me, that is who I know. That is who influences every single thing that I do, okay? That is where I live from. And that is where I believe everybody is searching for. Now, we all look at it differently, but we're all searching for that something. And for me, was reading The Shack really opened me up. But before that, I suppose it was actually going to a particular church that I went to, where somebody hugged me. For goodness sake, I'd grown up in a life where hugging was not even done. So yes, I'm that person that, talking about love and such is not always the most comfortable thing for me. Although, yes, I've decided I'm building a household, particularly for my daughters, where it is comfortable with shouting, I love you, all over the room, because I don't want them to take some of my crazies, basically, with them. I want them to know that they are loved and cared for, because then from that foundation, it's easy to do whatever else you want to do. The same goes for us as adults, though. Same goes for us as adults. You want that connection with love. You want to know. You want to know deep in your soul that you are cared for, that you are not alone in this. Because if not, then, you know, one of the second parts or third parts of this spiritual maverick thing that I'm doing right here is going to be talking about some of the blocks and the craziness that kind of gets in the way of you designing the life that you desire. Because it comes from a place of not knowing that you're cared for or loved, having lived with conditional love and accepted it as the norm. It's so hard to then create the life that you're born to create. So this today particularly is about trusting your gut. It is about accessing that wisdom deep within. But you know what? More than anything, it's about connecting you again with love. With love. Okay? Is it Marianne Williamson wrote the book, what, Return to Love or something? I think it's absolutely essential that we all do. We all do, okay? Hello, Demetrius. Lovely to have you here, honey. I remember seeing you a few weeks ago, quite a few weeks ago now, but it's lovely to have you here. Okay, so yes, I want us to connect with love, okay? Because I know for me that opened my life up in incredible ways. So that first time someone really gave me a proper hug with no demands, no agenda, which unfortunately brings that whole Me Too thing to it, but you know, whatever. But with no agenda, someone just hugged me because they loved me. They loved what they saw, the divine they saw in me. And that started something. And then I read, it took a few years, I read The Shack, and oh my gosh, I suddenly realized that there were no rules. There were no hoops I needed to jump through to receive love. I was loved. It's been a working thing. It's been a sorting this whole stuff out. But the truth of the matter is that you have the opportunity always to get to be in contact with love. Okay, and to be led by love, to have your whole life be guided by love. Okay, knowing that you're not alone, that you're always supported, that makes a heck of a lot of a difference. It has been a battle for me, for sure, and I'm sure it's a battle for a lot of people. Shared. Oh, thank you, Demetrius. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Unconditional love and light for all. Woohoo! Absolutely. Absolutely. I do think everything comes from that place first. I don't care how. Because you know what, I talk about this stuff right now, and you might think, oh, she's just some woo-woo spiritual person. I'm the most practical person you can ever meet. I don't believe in just sitting there. Oh yes, I'm just gonna pray and affirm forever, and then somehow all the things I dream of will come to me. No, I disagree. I am very practical. But I also know that, you know what, I have tried to give people all the practical, this is what you need to do. I tried it for myself too, I tried it for everybody else. This is what you need to do, just do it, you will win, you will win, you will win. And yet you see people not able to do it. Why? Because they're coming from a place of not knowing that they are worthy of every good thing. They're not coming from a place of not knowing that they deserve every good thing. They're coming from a not so great place. I've come from that place, so I know. So I will tell you what I know is absolutely essential. You connect back to love. And I'm going to be talking through how to tap into intuition, spirit, whatever you want to call it, okay? Okay? So that you can do this for yourself, because I also think that you don't need a middleman. You don't need any of that. You can actually go straight to source yourself. You absolutely can. Sometimes feels like you can't, but you can, okay? Okay, so what am I going to be talking about first? Connection. It is about trusting your gut. It is about connection. Apply forgiveness, surrender, release, let go. That no longer serves you. Absolutely. I agree. I'm going to be talking more about the other strategies around letting go and releasing stuff in part 2, I think it is, or 3. One or the other. You need to come for all 3, all of y'all. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to be talking. Let me carry on here. Let me look at what I wanted to talk about. I'm going to be talking about 4 particular keys. Now, one of the things that helped me with tapping into love more. And when I say love, I'm talking about intuition as well, that wisdom that comes from deep inside of you. Or like, maybe I'll separate it. You know what? You don't need to tap into wisdom in order to feel love. Okay? You are just loved. So let's put a line under that. You are loved, and you can use some of the stuff I'm going to talk about to help you tap into that love so that it becomes your reality. You know what? You don't need to be wanting to do anything to know that you're loved. Okay? You don't need to do anything to be loved. You are loved. You are created in love. You are fearfully, wonderfully made. I just need you to take that on board. The thing is that once you know that, it's almost like you want to spread that around. You can't help yourself. You can't help yourself. Just coming from that place of, oh, wow, I am complete. I know who I am, blah, blah, blah. You suddenly think, oh, what's my calling? I want to know. What's my purpose? And then you want to start to live out that stuff because you know, and there's something part of you I think it's because we're created in the image of the divine. There's a part of us that wants to share who we are, wants to always expand because we know that there's more to us, okay? And there ain't nothing wrong with that. Sometimes people tell you that you need to be satisfied and content with everything. I'm not saying don't be content. I think you can be content and at the same time always seeking to expand. I think you can do both. Anyway, let me carry on here. One of the things that I know has been key for me for a very long time is this whole delight yourself in the Lord and he'll give you the desires of your heart. Now for you guys, that may be that you delight yourself in the inner man, because inside of you is everything that you need. Okay, I think as spiritual people, we all agree to that we get to tap into something powerful. Okay, so as you delight yourself on the inside, you get access to this. I think my daughter is just back from buying some pizza. So she's going to keep ringing the bell till someone gets there. Okay, I'm going to see one of her sisters will get there soon. But yes, and so you're delighting yourself in the inner man because for most people, the first thing, and this has been my story as well, so never any judgment here. The first thing you do when you face some kind of issue or you have a question is that you start looking outside of you for answers. You start thinking, okay, where can I go? Who can I ask? Blah, 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 blah. But I'm encouraging you to start looking within, to start paying attention to what is going on inside of you, because actually it's from inside of you that you will fulfill the desires of your heart inside of you. So let's look inside first and foremost, okay? So delight yourself in the Lord, or you can put in there in source, in spirit, in the inner man, whatever, and he will give you the desires of your heart. That becomes your reality. And the desires of your heart is something else I wanted to mention here. The desires of your heart, wherever they are, you want to be in a great relationship, you want to have great, you want to look good, you want to feel good, you want to be happy, you want to be fulfilled, you want to be, free, all of that stuff that you want, it was planted inside of you, okay? So stop second guessing what you actually desire and own it. Own it. Don't go after what you think you should desire. Now, that was for me for a while. I was just working very hard to become a pharmacist because I felt, well, that seems to be a good enough career for the rest of my life. That seems to be whatever, and if I'd gone really all the way with this, I could have decided that I wanted to marry who my parents would have more likely wanted me to marry or whatever, because I would have thought, well, their definitions of success must be mine. But they weren't. Thankfully, I kind of stepped off that path after lots of courage. And I suppose what I'm trying to say to you here is this. Your desires, sometimes as spiritual people, you think to yourself that having a desire or maybe you want to be wealthy, maybe you want to be healthy, whatever. Well, healthy people seem to be fine with the abundant side of things. People kind of try and qualify, it's spiritual prosperity, not complete prosperity. No, there's no separation, okay? You get to create an amazing life, whatever that looks like for you. If you choose to diminish it based on what you see everybody else saying or thinking, or because you think somebody's going to tell you that you're greedy or whatever, then you get the lower version. But if you choose to go after every single thing you desire, I need you to know this. That desire was planted inside of you. Your vision is your permission. You are created in the image of the divine, and you have those desires for a reason, because you are exactly the person to bring them to life. And sometimes, again, as I say, you're trying to downplay them, thinking you're being greedy or something. Stop that. It's not the truth, okay? It's not the truth. You may have, yes, taken on somebody else's ideas of success, but it won't work for very long. You might get successful. You might already be successful in the eyes of everybody else around you, but you don't feel it because it's somebody else's definition. But the things you really want, no matter how big or small they are, were planted inside of you. So stop second guessing them. Stop trying to downplay them. And just, you know what? I receive. I'm ready to receive. I'm stopping arguing with myself. This is what I want. And so I'm going to go after it. Or I'm going to actually open myself up to receive it. I'm going to be willing to hear those intuitive nudges inside of me that will take me to where I want to go. instead of second guessing and questioning everything. Yeah, the self-sabotage, the subconscious energy blocks, all of that stuff. We need to choose to be free of this stuff. Okay. So I'm going to sing this thing again because this is it. Some of you all have never had the privilege of church. I'm sorry. There's some awesome things about church. And one of those awesome things is music. Basically, it is music. I was brought up in a place where, you know, every so often you break out into song and it just opens your heart in ways that just words alone don't. Okay? So every so often I'm going to try and sing this. And I want you to join in with me wherever you are on the planet. Okay? To remind myself. Okay. I choose to live out my calling. I choose to live out my calling. I choose to live out my calling. I will not die with my music in me. I will not die with my music in me. Okay, I want you to take that into your day, okay? But this is it. Let's talk a bit about how to actually tap into that wisdom within you. Now, as a very, 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 or maybe I was trained into it, I don't know, but as a very left-brained kind of girl, well, somewhere in the middle. I don't know. I've always, as I said, I'm a fairly logical person. I generally think through, this is what I need to do. It doesn't always look like it, basically, but I am that person when everybody else is having some kind of spiritual experience and they're seeing visions. I am the girl that sees nothing. So basically, I'm the one that, you know, I've been spiritual since practically I was born because of my background. I've always longed for God. I've always needed that love because, yeah, my dad had this accident, being pulled away from foster parents, all of that stuff meant that I always felt kind of lonely and kind of out of place and kind of not quite right. Okay? You're very welcome to my cheers. But, and so for me, it's always been really hard to tap into things like intuition. So even when giving birth to my first child, even then I'd learned a little bit, but it was still in practice because remember, it's a spiritual practice, people. Sometimes I hear people say, no, I can't do this. And I'm like, how long have you practiced it? Oh, I haven't. It's easy, but you still got to practice. Okay. But anyway, for me, it's like intuition is not a natural thing, or it is a natural thing, but it was conditioned out of me. I think probably the same has happened for quite a lot of people where you are more left-brained, you're more thinking 2 + 2 is 4, and never will I look at anything else, and all of that stuff. And then there's this longing inside of you to tap into intuition. You hear about people talking about intuition. There's a part of you that knows that you need that connection, as we've already talked about, and you don't know how to do it. Because, yeah, you see all those people and they seem kind of crazy and woo-woo. That was my thinking too, ultimately. And I'm thinking, I don't want to be like them. But then at the same time, I still want something. I was also that girl that in school, for goodness sake, when I was, I don't know, about 12 or 11 or something, and I was leading a revival at school. Hey, honey, this is my daughter saying she's back. I told her to come and wave at me. But anyway, saying, yeah, I was leading a revival, and everybody else around me is like feeling the spirit in all kinds of crazy ways. And I'm just like, I'm the leader of this thing, and I feel nothing. Except I knew inside of me that this was right. Ooh, 22, cool. Anyway, so yes, I've been that person. I'm saying this to you guys who are spiritual, but then you've never really felt anything, okay? You know, you're that person that's like, I want to hear stuff, I want to see things, I want to feel my intuition, but I can't, man. Well, this is for you, okay? For some of y'all, you might be listening to me and thinking, it's so easy to me. I just, I close my eyes and I see a panoramic vision and I know what I need to do next. I don't need anything. Yeah, well, for you, well done, great. But for us, where it's a little bit less easy, or it seems that way, can I take you through 4 keys, which I learned, actually, this was in, when was this, 2005 or something. I learned this and it really opened my ability to hear what spirit was saying to me so that I'm able to get guided. Now, I've not always trusted it because, yeah, there's been a heck of a lot of love issues to work through. Demetrius mentioned forgiveness and things. That having a whole day of dealing with some of my forgiveness issues meant that I was able to tap in even more, because there can be blocks, and we'll be talking about them in other parts of this 3-part thing here. But for now, can I just talk you through 4 keys? Normally, I only talk about this with clients or with programs, but I wanted to just kind of bring it out. For the next so long, you'll get access access to these videos. But generally, they're going to move off the Facebook platform, so you're well done for being here. But number one thing that I do, and this, can I say again, it is a discipline. So again, if you are longing to tap more into intuition, you need to understand that it's a practice. It is easy and it should come naturally, but you've had years of no practice. You've had years of people telling you just need to think clearly, you just need to be rational, and you just need to be reasonable and logical, and you've shut down that part of you. So it's going to take some doing to get to the place where you wake it up again, okay? So let's have a talk here. So number one thing, I'm going to break it down into four. I learned this, and I kind of refined it a little bit, but only a little bit. I learned this from some wonderful Christian dude who was exactly like me, this whole left brain thing. Anyway, I'm sure the Spirit led me to him, so I was able to learn this stuff, and I wouldn't have learned it from anybody else at that point in my life because I was only reading Christian stuff. So basically, so anyway, he opened this whole thing up to me, and I'm actually glad I found him because he was left brain and he explained it in a way that made sense to me. So first and foremost, number one thing, and I'll talk you through these four, but number one is that you quiet yourself down. Number two is that you come with intention. Number three is that you use your imagination, you step into flow. Number four is that you write everything down. And if I haven't already said so, which I don't think I have, I do believe everybody needs a journal. You need some kind of a notebook to be recording. If you are going to start trusting your gut, if you're going to start accessing wisdom within you, then honey, you need to start recording these nudges that come up inside of you. Start acknowledging them, because you spent years saying, that is just rubbish, that it just come from nowhere, no, I'm not listening to you, blah, 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 blah. So you need to now start saying, you know what, I'm so sorry. I will record every single little thing I hear, okay? Apply affirmations daily during the modality of meditation visualization, okay? Amen. Thank you for sharing the love. That's absolutely fine, Marianne. Lovely to have you here. You always wear your crystals. Cool. I love journaling. Cool. Okay. Just reading the comments right here. But this is it, guys. Carry a journal with you all the time. Yeah. These days, thank God for phones, so at least I always have Evernote. If I might, by some mysterious chance, forget to take my journal with me, but journal is always with me to record these things, to kind of get back in touch sometimes when everything is happening, then I can just, I need a second here. Start writing some stuff down. Okay, so those are the four keys, but let me explain what I mean now. So quiet yourself down. Now, for me, I wake up quite early before my household. I am a home-educated mother of three. I run business. I run this business. I run another business. So life is busy. Life gets hectic. Life gets crazy. If I do not deliberately decide to create space for me to design my life, I will just be dragged around from side to pillar to anywhere. Everybody's agenda. My children want me. Everybody wants my husband. So if you are going to do this, decide what time you're going to wake up and get it done. Okay, so some of you do better at night. Okay, to me that sounds really weird and odd, but that might work for you. Okay, if it does, then great. But don't deceive yourself though. Okay, for me, I wake up at like between 4 and 5. I wake up because I want that time of my own. To quiet myself down, it's really hard to do, especially if you're just learning to do this for the first time. It's really hard to do if you have people wanting your attention or all kinds of things happening around you. So when can you create space in your life to make sure you have time to get back in touch with the insides of you? Okay, that's cool. Thanks, Marianne. It's lovely to have you here. So that's number one thing, is create space. You need to create space for it. I know life is busy, but guess what? Was it Mandela that said, whenever I'm too busy, I need to pray even longer or something? I'm sure he said it more pretty than that, but that was the principle. This needs to apply to you as well. So ways that I quiet myself down is that I tap into my, I concentrate on my breathing. So for instance, I've learned different strategies from different people. But one of the things that I like to do sometimes is breathe in. I take you in, Holy Spirit. I release anything that no longer supports me. Take you in, Holy Spirit, release anything that no longer supports me. And all I'm doing is focusing in on my breathing, and that calms me down, okay? That calms me down a heck of a lot. I do with my daughters as well, just to help them calm down too. It's like, okay, come on. And just that, and you do that long enough, you start to feel in a whole different zone. basically. So that is one way of quietening yourself down, okay? Someone sent me crying and angry faces. Seriously, people. Okay, so breathe in, breathe out. Meditation, that might be your thing, okay? You might be into meditating. Great, you already know how to quiet yourself down. Make it a discipline, make it a practice. So it's not just something you do whenever. Actually get deliberate about this. This is about designing your life, okay? You want to create the space to actually hear that inner voice inside of you. Music. I like music, so sometimes I'd sit with my guitar and play a few tunes, or I'll go onto YouTube, listen to a few people that I quite like listening to, or sometimes it's just quite, I'm Christian, so I can listen to worship music. So there's music that makes you elevate, okay? So you want to listen to that stuff, okay? Have you got my album? That would help, okay? If you haven't got it, you need to go get it. It's at rosemarynonny.com/RAK music. I put it together for this particular purpose, as well as many others, okay? To help you calm down, to help you quiet down, to help you tap into what's going on inside of you, to quiet the crazy, so you can hear the whys inside of you, okay? But make sure you're comfortable as well. One of the things, so true, we need some space for self-care, relax. I like that, the calming down time, absolutely, absolutely, we need it. Focus your attention on what gives you joy and happiness, daily practice in order to raise and increase, absolutely. All of that, okay? And the other thing is, when I started learning, because I've always been someone that prays, even though I couldn't hear anything back, I'd just be praying, please God help me, please God help me, please God help me, please God help me, and nothing would come back. I used to think, this is a lot of faith, man, because I can't hear nothing coming back. But now I know, and I know that, yeah, actually Spirit is always speaking, always speaking. I don't care what your beliefs are, Spirit's always speaking, always, always speaking to you, always. Whenever you ask a question, you will get a response. The question is, are you at the right, is it energy level or vibration, if you want to use that, or are you listening ultimately? Are you listening in a way that you can hear? So anyway, you get comfortable, because with me, the praying thing, it meant that I had to kneel down and I had to be kind of uncomfortable and this and that and the other, because that's the only way God would love me, if I was sacrificing everything. And that's not God, okay? So anyway, get comfortable, okay? Get comfortable as well. I probably should have said this first. Get comfortable. Exercise can sometimes do it for you. Maybe you need to start your day with some exercise. It might even wake you up as well if you're starting really early in the day. Wake you up and then also calm you down, so that when you come to sit down to start actually tapping into source, you will be able to. Now, I must also add here that you may not have to go through this long, drawn-out process once it becomes natural to you. But to start with, and I still do this every day, okay? I still do this every day. And then during the day, however, I'm still being led all through the day, but I don't have to do wait, I just need to quiet myself down first, and then I need to, no. It becomes a natural part of my life where I'm speaking, I'm asking, and I'm receiving all at the same time. It's not something I have to wait for any longer. Prayer and praise is beautiful. Yes, Holy Spirit is always listening. Absolutely, always with us. Amen. Another thing is taking a shower. It's like this morning, taking a shower, suddenly getting all kinds of ideas, for this. It's like, oh, wow. Taking a bath, taking a shower can really calm you down. And it just takes you away from your circumstances, your situation, so you can hear what's going on inside of you. And also trust that you have enough time. There can be this feeling of anxiety that surrounds you when you try to quiet yourself down, and all the things that have been waiting to get your attention may suddenly bubble up inside of you. Well, for one, that's another good reason to have your journal with you, is that you can then write down some of those ideas and get them, say, okay, yes, I've acknowledged you. Now I'm going to put you to one side. I want to tap into Spirit. I want to hear what Source is saying to me, okay? Okay, and at this point, I'm just going to sing the song again, because I want you to really hear that, and quiet yourself down for a second right here, okay? I choose to live out my calling. I choose to live out my calling. I choose to live out my calling. I will not die with my music in me. I will not die with my music in me. I really want you to take that in. I choose to live out my calling and will not die with my music in me. Doesn't matter where you're starting from right now. It doesn't matter how old you feel, how young you feel, how out of time you feel, how desperate you feel. Today is a good day to start afresh, tapping into source, tapping into spirit, tapping into the wisdom that is always accessible. It's almost like you get to start again in every single moment. You get to start again. Remember that. Number 2 thing. So you've quietened yourself down, okay? Thank you very much, honey. You've quietened yourself down. The next thing that you want to do, let me just, look at my notes here, is that you come with intention. Particularly when you're having a particular session, first thing in the morning, you come with intention. Sometimes the intention is simply to communicate, okay? So, that's good, Ijoba. Sometimes the intention is simply to communicate. Sometimes I just say, Papa, will you speak to me? Okay, and then it's like an openness inside of me. I want to hear what you have to say, whatever it is. Okay, and so I step into that. I will actually read you. Oh, where did I put it? I will read you something that was said to me in one of my sessions. In fact, I'll do that right now if I can find it. I was going to open it up before I came on here, and then I forgot. Actually, because this was one of the things, I'm looking at a different tab right now, but I will, I'm going to read this to you. This is one of the sessions I'm just sitting there saying, Father, will you speak to me? Okay. And this is one of the things I said to me, and this is partly where like the deliberate success and immersion incubators come from. It's this place of wanting to create a place that empowers other people, that helps them feel loved, and that helps them tap into spirit for themselves as well, and also brings or downloads what I hear spirit saying to me, to the community, and bring it to you as well. Okay, so this is one of the things that was said to me, and I actually read this to the DMs once upon a time, and I was quite surprised by their reaction, so I figured this would be good for you to hear as well. So listen, if I want you to close your eyes and listen. It's kind of speaking to me, but you'll see where you play a part here. So this is the kind of thing that I would journal about after, and I'm still talking you through the four keys here, but this is the second one where I'm just saying, you know what, Papa, speak to me. So then this is something he said. I'll just close the door. I can hear my daughters making lots of noise. Close your eyes, listen in. I made you exactly the way you are, with particular bents and desires. I made you a masterpiece. Sit with that. Help others to sit with that. This is not a delusion. Why would you think that? Why is it easier to think that you're just nothing special? Ask your people the same question. They feel the same fears you do, fears that they are mundane, fears that they're nobody special. And that underlying fear keeps them trapped in mundanity. It is a fear that even you have glossed over. You are my masterpiece. This will help give your people identity. It is something that resonates deep within, a knowledge that they are born for more. It takes courage to believe you are powerful and also to act as though it's true. You are surrounded by those who feel just a number in the crowd, unseen, unheard, unloved, and now you're giving them a name. You're calling them out of obscurity. It takes courage to stay on path, to believe they really are born for more. And yet I call you and I call them. Will you call them out? Tell them what I've already told you. Give them system, direction, map, and love them. Give them a home. The Deliberate Millionaire, the Deliberate Success Immersion Bank, it's a home for these ones. You need to own it. Call them home. A place where they can explore and explode. See each individual person as a masterpiece, my masterpiece. Tell them who they really are. Give their pain a purpose. The world changes as those who felt downtrodden see themselves for who I created them to be. I created them to be more, a masterpiece, powerful. Tell them boldly. And it's from things like this that I do the work that I do. It's because I hear, sorry, I've stopped saying what was said to me. I'm now just talking to you. That's where this stuff comes from. If you've ever looked at the blogs that I write and all of this and you're thinking, my goodness, how does she do this? This is how I do this. This is how I do this. I tap into spirit. I tap into Papa. I find out what he wants me to say, and I say it. I say it. I'm getting better at not filtering, so it's getting more real because I'm trusting more. And you can go through that process too. Okay? So yeah, I come with intention. Coming back to number 2. Come with intention. What is it that you want to hear? Maybe you have a question you're looking for an answer to. Maybe you have a thing that you need to handle. So it's like I said, this is how to access all the wisdom you'll ever need to design a fulfilled, happy, loved up, abundant life. Yeah, this is how you do it. You come with that intention, okay? There's this part of my life that isn't working. Papa, can you help me? Maybe you don't call him Papa, maybe call it universe, source, don't care. Whatever you want to call it, okay? what is the next thing that I need to do? Okay, we're going to be talking next time about clarity of purpose and such. Make sure you come for part 2. But anyway, so that's number 2, is that you come with intention. What is it that you want the answer to? Or what is it that you're trying to create here? Or maybe you just want to communicate. That's fine too, because sometimes just the most amazing stuff comes out just because you showed up and you were open, ready to receive. Okay? Cool. Okay, so that's number 2. So come with that intention. What is it that you want to hear about? All of that. Number 3, now for me, people like me, again, you might want to use your imagination. Now, to me, imagination is a superpower. The problem is that for most people, we've been using our imagination for stuff that doesn't feel great, okay? I'm glad you're loving it, Marianne, and thanks, Demetrius, as well. For stuff that doesn't feel great, people are using their imagination to imagine all the worst case scenarios, all the things that could possibly go wrong. Oh my gosh, this and that and the other. And so your imagination is a superpower, but it can be used for good or to put you down. It can be helpful or it can be not so helpful. I choose to use it to help me. I have moments when I don't use it to help me, and it's not a great moment. So number 3 is that you use your imagination to tap into what I would call flow. Okay, so I would be closing my eyes, I'd be quieting myself down, I'd come with the intention, Father, speak to me. And then okay, the pictures I've used, okay, and I'll tell you the ones that I generally tend to use when I don't see anything flashing up in my mind immediately. And it's so subtle. When you're just starting this, it's so subtle that you're going to have these nudges, these flashes, they're so subtle, which is why I say you tap into flow. But to begin with, and this is something I've been doing since I was about 6 or something, I didn't realize what I was doing then. It's just now that I can put a name on it, I realize, oh my goodness, I've been doing this forever. Which is, I used to imagine, my first ever image was that I would imagine going into a throne room, because I was reading the Bible at this point. So I'd be talking about, entering his gates with thanksgiving in my heart. So I'd be having this imagination of going, I'd have this picture in my mind, I'd create it myself, where I'd be going into his throne room to go and sit on his lap. He'd be sitting on a throne. I never could see his face at that point. So I'd just see him, however, and it was a place that welcomed me. So I'd go and sit on his lap and he'd give me a hug and I'd feel really loved. Okay, so that is one picture that I still use to this day, where he's my father, he's my father, he's my father. So I'd go up, I'd sit on his lap, but now I can see his mouth. I can see his mouth mostly. So when I'm asking a question, like, okay, what seems to be the thing to do here? I'm looking up to see what is coming back at me. So it helps me to have something to focus on. Okay, so I've created this picture in my mind of sitting on his lap, and I'm looking up at his face, and he's speaking back. And this brings me to number 4, because whatever I hear back, I'm writing down, okay? And yes, you might listen to that, or you might start doing this on your own, and you'll be thinking, oh, it's just me talking to myself, man. This is where the trust, you have to suspend your, I call it ego maybe, or your self-doubt, your lack of self-belief, and just trust that actually it's more than just you. And this is the thing to bear in mind as well. You need to suspend that so that you can write down what you hear, and then afterwards have a look back, and you might be surprised at what you see. It's like what I just read to you. That's not necessarily how I sound. Ultimately, it's not necessarily what I would say to myself. But a few years ago, I don't know, when I didn't quite know how to do this, I would have said, oh, I'm just me talking to myself, blah, 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 blah. And that would have been the end of it. And so again, how I said to you that you spend all those years saying to your intuition that, oh no, it's nothing special there, whatever. Now you need to start acknowledging it. You just repent. Okay, and say, you know what, I'm open. It may. Because sometimes we as human beings as well, it's like I was saying this to my daughters, because I've been training them as well on how to do this. And when they're getting going with it, they're like, yeah, but it just sounds like and I'm like, no, you're waiting to hear some kind of booming voice from the heavens. You need to do this now. And then you'll know, yes, that must be my intuition. No, it's actually supposed to be simple. It's actually supposed to be easy. It's actually supposed to come naturally to you. So if you have to force it, it's not. That is when you start doubting. Is if you feel like you had to make it happen. I had to hear a voice. I must hear a voice. I must hear something. Then you know it's you. But if you all simply are create a picture, what I say to clients is, because not everybody of course has my background, but what is a safe place? Who is a safe person? Please don't use somebody in your current life. You'll just keep hearing their voice in your head, and who wants that, basically. But my guitar about to fall over. What is a safe place for you? What is a safe, for me, that was a throne room. There was just something safe about going into a throne room where I was safe from all the stuff that was happening around me. I could go there and I could be safe and be loved. I've also used things like walking along the beach with Jesus. That's my thing. I walk along the beach with Jesus and we're having a chat. And at the same time, I'm sitting down in my chair in the physical and I'm writing down what I hear. Okay? So especially when I got started, sometimes I didn't hear a lot. I just heard phrases. I just got flashes of pictures, flashes of impressions, just perceptions that just kind of flash into your mind. And it's these things that you have to start paying attention to. These are the things that I would say that you were just flicking away, thinking, it's just me. And yet, have you ever had that experience where you flicked away one of those nudges, and then maybe you forgot your keys at home, and the nudge had been, put your key over here or something, and you just kind of, whatever. And then you go out, come back, somehow realize, if I just listened to that nudge. That's happened to me quite a lot. So now I pay attention. Pay attention is like, maybe Spirit is trying to give me a hint here. So let's pay attention. I'm not perfect. But I know. What was it that happened recently? Oh yes, I remember just a few weeks ago actually, my housekeeper was cleaning the house. I was out. I'd taken the children off to some place or the other, and I was sitting in a coffee shop across the road from where I could get my makeup. And I had a distinct nudge, feeling, Rosemary, do something. Go across the road, go and buy some makeup, go and buy some foundation. And I'm just like, I don't want to, I can't be bothered. Forget about it. No, I don't want to do it. And I'm going home. And so I get in the car, I'm going home. I get a message from my housekeeper to say, please buy some foundation. I've broken yours. I was like, you were trying to tell me and I didn't listen, basically. And so things like that happen. And as you become more aware, you'll realize that this is happening to you all the time, okay? It's just that you haven't been paying attention, but now I'm asking you to start paying attention, that there is wisdom. It's always happening. Spirit is always speaking. We're just not always in tune to hear. So number 3 here is what I'm trying to concentrate on, which is that you're using your imagination to get things going. So you've quietened yourself down, you've come with intention, and now you start the whole thing, unless you're someone who easily taps into flow, in which case fine. But if you're not, then you have a particular picture, a particular safe place that you go to, and you meet with a safe person, or maybe it's whatever feels good to you, okay? And then just let the imagination, or let the picture that you've created, let it keep running. Just let it go. Let it flow. Just let it. I know it's almost like, how am I supposed to explain this to you? But just let it, just give it a go, right? Okay, and then you just let it flow. And then the 4th thing is that you're recording every single thing you see. It's like my daughters, they just draw pictures of what they see. And maybe that's where you start. You just get this impression. Sometimes when I'm speaking to people on the phone, I get this impression for them and I just like, okay, this is what I see. What does that mean to you? For some people, it's like, oh my gosh, that's exactly it. Or for some people, it's like, okay, let's dig in. Let's see. And that comes with trust, though, because you have to trust that you're not just drawing something up by yourself, but I've learned to trust, okay? And so that's how you start to tap into that wisdom inside of you. Let's go over that again. So number 1 is that you're quietening yourself down, so you make the space, you create the time, you decide that you're open. You by creating that space, you're saying this is important to me. Okay, so if it means you have to wake up half an hour earlier, do it. Most of the courses that I do right now, it's like, that's one of the first things I'm telling people is like, look here, I don't want you to just take what I say on face value. I want you to actually put this stuff to the test. I want you to create space for this. Sometimes that whole waking up thing is the hardest thing people do, But it's worth it, don't you think, if you get access to incredible wisdom and you also get access to designing your day. You know what, beyond even, doing all of this that I'm talking about here, you want to be writing out your vision every day. I'm sorry, but you do. You want to keep it clear in mind, because if not, people are dragging you here, there, and everywhere, trying to get you to live to their vision. So creating that space that you start the day powerfully, you decide how your day is going to go. Come on, guys, I want to hear from you. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you're thinking. So you're quietening yourself down. Number 2 is that you're coming with intention. You're coming with intention. What is it that you would like to hear about? Number 3 is that you're using your imagination to get things going, to get things moving, to tap into flow, to get into that. It's almost like a whole new level. A whole new level. And then you're recording everything you see, whatever the colors are, because sometimes you can see colors or you see numbers or whatever. You go and search on the internet, because there's a heck of a lot of woo-woo people out there to tell you the meaning of every possible color you ever see, basically. Even if you are particularly religious in a particular way, so like Christian people, you might be listening to me and thinking, oh my gosh, she's talking about something, that there are prophetic people who talk about colors and what different things mean and what different things stand for. So there's always a way to start to take what you see and figure out what spirit is trying to get through to you. You do have to trust this. You do have to suspend, at least for the duration of that period of time that you're tapping into wisdom, you suspend your doubt and all of that, because you can check it out afterwards. One of the things that, when I learned how to do this first, one of the things that the guy actually said was to check it out, have a partner that you're accountable to or whatever, so that they can look at it, maybe your pastor or whatever. So if you need to do that, do that. But don't, because of what you were taught by some who knows whatever, who was maybe nervous of tapping into the spiritual things. And I suppose in some ways I'm speaking to Christians particularly, because I know for a long time, if this had come at the wrong time for me, I would have felt like, oh my God, it's of the devil. But it was the right time for me. I knew I needed to step into more. Okay, so you might be listening to me, or maybe you're not, because you run off because it's all too scary. And I'm saying to you, honey, write down what you write down and then take it to your pastor or whatever and just get it checked out. And then the other thing I would ask you is this. Most people are, you're all shouting about how, yeah, God is love and God can protect you. Do you think he's not able to protect you from some kind of crazy? Really? Basically. And if you don't think he is, then do you really trust? Do you really? Do you have faith? This is a faith walk, man. This is a faith walk. Okay. So those are the 4 keys that you need, particularly if you're more left-brained and you find it really hard to tap into intuition, tap into wisdom within. You hear people talking about the fact that, oh, there's everything you need is within you. And you're thinking, it's not within me, basically. Well, it is. It really is. This is accessible to every single person. There is no, just because you belong to a particular religion, you're somehow more worthy than everybody else. No, it's not true. It's not true, okay? Spirit speaks. The rain falls on the righteous and the unrighteous. So the Bible says, okay? So, all of this trying to box everything up and blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it just means that love is halted. And going back to what I said at the beginning, you know what? Ultimately, all of us are longing to return to love. Before there were all the boxes and the rituals and this is the way you have to do it, because if you don't do it my way, then you're definitely going to hell or something. First and foremost, let's just get back in touch with that, the spirit within. Okay? Intuition, whatever you want to call it, okay? Okay? Because this is it. To live out the call on your life, to have that life that is fulfilled, that is abundant, that is free, you need to be able to tap into more than what you see. You need that 6th sense. You need it. This isn't a when I feel like it type of thing. No, if you are determined to actually experience a life of uncommon success, then honey, you need to be able to tap into this wisdom, to be able to get in touch with this intuition thing within you. It is open to you. Spirit is ever speaking to you. Your intuition is always speaking to you. You just need to put yourself in a position to hear. And it is simple to do. We were actually born with it. And then, the school happened and parents happened and, you need to be practical happened. and you forgot that ultimately under this body, you are spirit. You are spirit, okay? And that part of you is eternal, will never cease. You have access to incredible wisdom to be able to guide you through whatever it is that you're going through each single day, every single day. You're not alone in this. You're not alone in this journey, okay? So I think this is bringing us to the end here. Is there anything else I wanted to make sure I said to you guys? The other magical thing that I sometimes do actually is go to sleep with a question on mind, expecting an answer. And usually within an hour or so of waking up, I know what I need to do. It's like if the program, it's like, I want to release a program. I feel as if this could work, but can you give me clarity around it? And I go to sleep with that. I wake up in the morning. Oh, wow, that's it. That's it, basically. And that can work for you as well. Because dreams are another way, actually, as in when you're sleeping, dreams are a way that spirit can speak with you, intuition can speak with you. Again, it's one of those things that you've probably trained yourself not to listen to because you think, it's just what I ate last night. Sometimes, maybe. But if you've gone with intention, you've gone to sleep with intention, you might find that actually spirit is the only time that spirit can get through to you, because otherwise you're like, I'm going 10 to the dozen. Okay, pull it back. Pull it back. And so spirit speaks to you whilst you're sleeping. That's something else I got into the habit of doing, is the moment I wake up, record that dream, because you never quite know. Especially if you know how you have those dreams, some of those dreams where it's like, this seems significant in some way. It's like, write it down quick, basically. And then there's the other ones that is just like, whatever. I don't know, for me anyway, there's definitely some dreams, it's like, I think this is significant. I need to write this down immediately before it goes. And so, and the more you do that, the more you start to remember your dreams as well. That's the thing, because again, just like ideas, like in the intuitive nudge and all of that stuff, listening to spirit, it is a practice. And if you've practiced getting rid of it and thinking it's stupid, then you're going to have to practice welcoming it back. Okay. And it's going to be there's going to be a bit of a transition where it's like, okay, I know that I spent the last 30 years of my life saying that you're rubbish, but please come back now. I actually want to hear you. Because this is it, whatever it is that you want, relationships, health, wealth, fun, freedom, whatever, you will be guided to it through tapping into source within. Let's sing this thing. And yes, let's sing this thing, and I'll say some more here and bring it to a close. Thank you, Jesus. I choose to live out my calling. I choose to live out my calling. I choose to live out my calling. I will not die with my music in me. I will not die with my music in me. I choose to live out my calling. I choose to live out my calling. I choose to live out my calling. I will not die with my music in me. I will not die with my music in me. Okay, so make sure you take that into the day. We're going to be singing it in part 2 and part 3, so I want all of y'all to be singing it with me by the end of this. Let's bring this to a close. Just take a deep breath. Okay. One affirmation I would like to leave with you as well is this. I choose to be receptive to spirit, to source, to intuition. And if you're into God, to God. Okay? Arms up to the heavens. I choose to be receptive. Okay, honeys, it's time to fight for and to deliberately design the life you are born to live, because you want to. You deserve every good thing. So don't deny yourself. Choose to step into that intuition, be receptive, keep your eyes and ears and inner sight